So Daniel, you're in Iceland for Iceland Montenegro in the Nations League. Can you just explain why you're here for this game?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's really nice to be here because I've watched football around the world, and I was working out. I think this is my 55th country, so 55 different countries. But I've never been to Iceland, so it's nice, as well as work, to basically be able to have see a new country. But really, because there's such a fascination in England with the Sigurdsson story, big star of the Premier League for many years. I think he scored nearly 70 goals in the Premier League. Played for Everton, Tottenham, won Player of the Year awards at Swansea, at Reading. Big career, but obviously he's now back in Iceland, but there's still a lot of fascination about him, how he's playing, and just the story about his kind of comeback. Really, nobody's really told that story very much. In the English, I work for the Athletic and the New York Times, so sort of international media, but nobody's really told that story from. I'm UK based. I haven't seen that story being told really about his comeback and how he's playing and what people make of him here and how popular he is and just his return to football.
He's gonna start tonight. Are you excited to see him play?
Yeah, well, he's a great player, and he's 35 this weekend, so that is the age where players sometimes. But I always thought, he was never. I mean, he wasn't slow as such, but he was his brain, his intelligence was always one step ahead. So he's the type of player I could see playing, carrying on for a few more years yet. So yeah, it's just it's always good to visit new grounds, and unfortunately it's quite windy, so it's not made for great football. But I think that's quite often a problem here, the weather, isn't it? I noticed you have some trees at one end of the stadium, which I presume are to stop the wind kind of whipping in, but it's still quite gusty, which has been bad news to me because I wanted to go whale watching, and all the tours have stopped. But there you go.
How does it just see where he's playing now, not Valor, and comparing it to the Premier League?
Yeah, well, I have to be careful here because I don't want to say something that will make me come across as typical English arrogance. Because I remember 2016, and I remember Iceland. I remember in Euro 2016 where Roy Hodgson, the England manager, could have gone to watch Iceland's last game in Paris, and he chose, with him and his assistant, they went on a boat ride down the river instead rather than go to watch the game, and it was just the classic English arrogance. So I don't want to say something that will make me come across badly. But it also was quite eye-opening to go to Valor's stadium today and see it, because really in England that would be the equivalent of a ground in maybe Division 7, Division 8, very small. There's one stand and then the other three sides of the ground are all open. Nowhere to sit basically. There's some old crates behind one goal where you can stand. So don't get me wrong, it's real, it's proper football, and I like it, but it's in terms of the Sigurdsson story, it's quite fascinating, and obviously, the Athletic is the New York Times sports pages effectively, and there was a chance that he could have gone to DC United in MLS at one point, so that didn't work out, but Wayne Rooney wanted to take him, so he could have been playing in Washington, but he chose to come back to Iceland, which I think after everything that happened in England, which is obviously a very difficult situation, I think coming back here where he's popular, the media are quite kind to him. He's a big figure here. He's won Iceland's sports personality, I think twice, and he's the record all-time goal scorer. So it's a place where I think it probably feels safe to him and probably feels warm, and maybe after everything that happened, that is good for him. Better than going to a new country where it's maybe not quite as maybe he wouldn't be embraced so much perhaps.
Are you for the game tonight? Are you excited to see how it plays out?
Yeah, I mean, again, one of the reasons why I can't ever sound arrogant is obviously Iceland. Before the this year's Euros, came to Wembley and beat England, and so obviously, so I really did like the Iceland story. This kind of underdog. Everyone loves an underdog story, don't they? And what happened in 2016. I'll let you into a secret. I'm half Scottish, so it didn't bother me. But I remember going to that game and thinking I've just watched history, because that was England's worst ever defeat. And so because of that, I always, Iceland are always seen as one of these teams that, I've always got a memory of Iceland. So it's nice to be able to come here first time to the stadium to watch them. You know, I realise maybe 2016 was the peak because you know you don't have the resources, you don't have the money, the stadiums that other countries have, but. You know, there's a lot of spirit here. You know, we all remember the Viking clap and all that sort of stuff. And you know, so it'd be good if you qualify for another tournament. And you know, maybe we'll see Gylfi in England. You know, again.
Other interesting players as well. You know, Orri Oskarsson was rumored to Manchester City. Is playing tonight.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So it's quite interesting for me to come here. And even though I'm here on Sigurdsson Watch, I can have a chance to look at these players. There's some of them that I wouldn't normally get the chance to see very often. You know, if you're linked with Manchester City, you're doing well, basically, because Manchester City only want the best players out there. So he's an obvious one. Montenegro are quite a nice team to watch. You know, I mean, we'll have to see, but they're always a very technically good team, and you know, so it should be decent. I just hope the wind doesn't get in the way. It's quite difficult.
Just finally, how have you liked Iceland so far?
Great. I mean, I had a good look around today. As I say, the disappointing thing is that I did want to be the classic tourist and, you know, maybe go on one of those boat trips. And, you know, it's like, I know it's kind of like everyone does. But yeah, it's very interesting because it's different. It is different to mainland Europe. You know, it's like one moment you're like there's a posh clothes shop, the next minute it's like a pub, and like, you know, I saw the punk museum. And you know, it's got a real character. It's got its own character, its own personality, and you know, I found a great bakery for lunch, and you know, just there's a lot of graffiti. It's quite urban as well as everything else. You know, it's got a bit of character and a bit of sort of a bit of attitude. So I like Reykjavik. It's good. Tomorrow I'm hopefully going to get a bit of time to go and do some more tourist stuff on the edges, but then I'll fly back on Sunday morning.
Not the best weather though.
I beg your pardon?
Not the best weather though.
No, but I'm from Manchester, so to be honest, I'm used to. It's not sunshine there. My wife has just texted me and said the trees blown down in the garden because it's been. So I can't complain. But
thank you, Daniel.